The water cycle introduction. The water cycle, it's also known as the hydrologic cycle, is the natural process by which water moves continuously on. Above and below the surface of the earth, this cycle is very important for all living things, as it provides fresh water for plants, animals, and people. Water covers about 70% of our planet, but most of it is in the oceans and is salty. The water cycle helps to clean, move, and recycle water, making sure there is enough fresh water for life to survive. In this video, we will explain the water cycle, looking at its main steps, why it is important, and how it affects our daily lives. What is the water cycle? The water cycle is the journey water takes as it moves from the land to the sky and back again. The heat causes the water to change from a liquid to a gas, called water vapor. This vapor rises up into the air. Most of the evaporation on Earth comes from the oceans, but it also happens in other water bodies, and even from the soil. Plants take up water from the soil through their roots. Some of this water moves up to the leaves and then escapes into the air as water vapor through tiny holes called stomata. This process adds more water vapor to the air. Water changes its form during this journey, becoming a liquid, a gas, or a solid. The sun is the main source of energy that powers the water cycle. The main steps of the water cycle. The water cycle has several main steps. These steps happen over and over again, making the cycle never-ending. Evaporation. Evaporation is the first step of the water cycle. It happens when the sun heats up water in rivers, lakes, oceans, or even puddles. Transpiration. Transpiration is like evaporation, but it happens in plants. Sublimation. Sublimation is when ice or snow changes directly into water vapor without first turning into liquid water. This can happen on mountaintops or at the poles, especially when the air is dry and the temperature is low. Although sublimation is slower than evaporation, it still adds water vapor to the atmosphere. Condensation. After water vapor rises into the sky, it cools down. When it cools, the vapor changes back into tiny drops of liquid water. This is called condensation. These small drops come together to form clouds and fog in the sky. Condensation is the reason we see clouds. Precipitation. When the drops and clouds get bigger and heavier, they fall back to the ground as precipitation. Precipitation can be rain, snow, hail, or sleet, depending on the temperature. Precipitation is how water returns to the Earth's surface. Collection. Once water falls to the ground, it collects in rivers, lakes, oceans, and even underground. Some of the water will flow over the land as runoff, while some will soak into the soil and become groundwater. This collected water will eventually be used again in the water cycle, infiltration and runoff. After precipitation, some water moves into the ground. This is called infiltration. The water that does not soak into the ground flows over the land and is called runoff. Runoff helps fill rivers, lakes, and oceans. Groundwater flow. The water that seeps into the ground moves slowly through the soil and rocks. Why is the water cycle important? The water cycle is very important for many reasons. It provides fresh water for drinking, farming, and cleaning. It helps plants grow by bringing rain and moving water through the soil. Shapes the land by causing erosion and creating rivers, lakes, and valleys. Controls the weather and climate by moving heat and moisture around the planet. It starts with the sun heating water, causing it to evaporate and rise into the air. The water vapor cools and forms clouds, which then release the water back to the ground as rain or snow. The water collects in rivers, lakes, oceans, and underground, ready to start the cycle again. This endless movement of water is essential for life on Earth. It gives us the water we need to drink, grow food, and live healthy lives. By understanding and protecting the water cycle, we can make sure there is enough clean water for everyone, now and in the future. It cleans water by filtering it through the ground and by evaporation, which leaves dirt and salt behind. How does the water cycle affect us? The water cycle affects us every day, even if we do not notice it. The rain we see, the rivers we use, and the water we drink all come from the water cycle. Farmers depend on rain to grow crops. Cities need clean water for people to drink and use. The weather, like storms and sunny days, is also caused by the movement of water in the cycle. Human impact on the water cycle. People can change the water cycle in many ways. Cutting down trees reduces transpiration, which can change rainfall. Building cities with lots of concrete stop water from soaking into the ground, causing more runoff and sometimes floods. Polluting water makes it unsafe for people and animals. Using too much water for farming or industry can lower the amount of groundwater. It is important to protect the water cycle by saving water, planting trees, and keeping water clean. Conclusion: the water cycle is a simple but powerful process that keeps water moving around our planet. It starts with the sun heating water, causing it to evaporate and rise into the air. The water vapor cools and forms clouds, which then release the water back to the ground as rain or snow. The water collects in rivers, lakes, oceans, and underground, ready to start the cycle again. This endless movement of water is essential for life on Earth. It gives us the water we need to drink, grow food, and live healthy lives. By understanding and protecting the water cycle, we can make sure there is enough clean water for everyone now and in the future.